Hey, y'all, who's left of my subscribers who hasn't unsubscribed from me? Probably because I hadn't put anything relevant out for a while. So, I got an epiphany, all inspired by a short by Natalie Clarice. Now, I've been watching a lot of stuff here lately, and it's kind of hard. My brain is like running around like a squirrel, trying to piece it all together. And I may have to write stuff down while I'm doing this to keep myself on track because I'm all over the place. But anyway, catch up with my work. Yeah, we're kind of picking up a little bit. Yeah, I had a whole $36 paycheck last week. It's okay. I'm okay. We're good. But now I'm probably going to be working every Saturday for a few months because, yeah, my bank account is looking a little withered. It's not bad, just not where I want it to be. Anyway, so Natalie Clarice was talking about basically kind of looking inward in her most brassy way possible, that you as a woman need to look at yourself and determine your status quo as far as being of any value. Are you a low value woman? And she kind of lays out the criteria. So, countering that, there's women out there who allow low value men to destroy their lives. For example, the red flag boy that I just packed his shit and said, don't bring any more stuff here. Thank you for your help. I appreciated it wholeheartedly. But by no means is that an open door for you to move in on me. And amongst a few other things, and his comment was, you're crazy. And I was like, yep, you might be right. But you know what? I'm going to be crazy by myself. And away he went. And I haven't heard a thing from him since. And I'm kind of glad. Anyway, so let's talk about these low value men that women seem to attract into their lives. Now, I have my own house, I have my own truck, my own bills, I pay it all, I take care of me the best I can given the psychological trauma that I've dealt with, throughout my entire life and the most current 3 year ago fuck ass fuckery. Anyway, so, and I'm healing, and I'm watching, and I'm listening, and I'm paying attention. So, low value men, okay? Don't put yourself in the low value woman category by allowing low value men into your life and hanging on to them, or not being able to see past the shit they say. So, let's start with the most recent. Red flag boy. 4 baby mamas. 5 kids. Criminal record. Super helpful. Heart the size of Texas. Gonna give him that much. However, he is a typical male. So, his lacking accountability, his not having his own place, not maintaining his own apartment or anything like that, living with mama, not keeping a job because he's actually quit this one that he's at 3 or 4 or 5 different times, and they've hired him back. Because he's a good worker when he's here. But he gets the ass about something and he fucking pops off and he quits. Alright? So, there's that. And he's all in, like he dives from the highest fucking diving board. He doesn't, start off with the little board and then progressively go higher and higher and higher. He comes in, guns blazing. I'm going to help you with everything that is tormenting your life. Gotta, people pleaser kind of guy. But at the same time, he still has that man mentality of, it was not all my fault. And then when he does do something screwed up, he doesn't have a conscience. So his mom threw him under the bus. I questioned it. He kind of like brushed it off, so I brushed it off and I just kept mental note. So what had started off as people do evolve and they get better with age, right? And maybe all of these red flags he's telling me about himself, I'm just thinking into it. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. See where it goes. Well, yeah, that benefit of the doubt turned into a seed of doubt. And is almost immediately, within a week, he realized he fucked up. Because my mannerisms toward him became shallow and lackadaisical. Like, I didn't care if he was here or not. It was just like, yeah, okay. And the reason was because I pointed it out to him. He said, he gave me I got to Mama's, and then all of the agenda did not have any pronouns attached to it. And I'm like, we just watched a video on this. Quite literally. We watched a Chase Hughes video on how to spot manipulation and how to tell if someone's lying. Yeah. And he did it. Exactly the way Chase had said he. I was like, you want to repeat that? And then he did. And I was like, yeah, you ain't going to own any of those? What do you mean? I said, yeah, you forgot to say I. He was like, don't start. I was like, I'm not. I'm just making you aware that I'm aware. Moving on. So, there are low-value men out there who have criminal records. They have baby mamas strung across the planet. They have red flags, like, sticking out of them like a fucking tomato pincushion. This one did. And because he was such a nice guy, because he was helpful and came to my rescue with my bathroom, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I was hoping he wasn't like the rest. Finger puppet. I was hoping. And he turned out to be just like the rest. I didn't invest my emotions into this individual. I just went with the flow to see where it went, to see if it was going to bloom into anything, come to fruition, and it never did, because he sabotaged it, or subconsciously, or not even realizing he fucked up. And he thought he had me fooled. And I was just like, yeah. Mm-hmm. There are high value men who are single fathers who do not have time to date because they are busy taking care of their children. There are high value women who do not have time to date because they are taking care of their children. There are high value men who are single and remain single because all they seem to attract is low value women of some kind of gold digger perspective. They're in it to get a free ride. And then you have low value men who do the same thing to what would be considered low value women like me. And I'm actually kind of a decent value. I pay my own bills and I have a career and I like what I do. And I work a lot and I don't get a chance or I'm too tired to get my ass out of the house. Now, problem I have is I have been through trauma. I have learned my lesson. And now I have a house full of trauma clutter that I have to get through. Not to mention, I had a bathroom that was in such disarray. I mean, the walls were rotted. I mean, it was that bad. So, we had to tear it apart. Put it all back together. Now it's half put together. I have the, the ambition to do it. It just, I'm going to need an entire day of waking up and getting all of this off of my chest. All of this crap that I've been studying. Because with my being hopeful that this guy was not like the rest, there's a little bit of a pain there. It's like, God, why? You fucked it up, dude. Why? What is wrong with these people? Now, he was literally blowing smoke up my head. Oh, you're so great, and yeah, and he wanted a relationship with me, and wanted to buy land, and he's future faking the fuck out of me. And I'm sitting there looking at him like, you want to slow the fuck down there? Sancho, whatever. I am not running. I'm not going 100 fucking miles an hour with this. I'm going to know everything about you before I even consider thinking that this is going to go in that direction. Yeah. And that's what they do. Now, it's not necessarily narcissists that do that. It's just low-value men who seem to think that just their looks are going to get them somewhere. They don't. Sorry, princess. Your looks do not matter to us. Just putting it out there. Now, I'm not going to sit back and say that looks aren't sort of a factor. But if you are repulsive and your personality is repulsive, yeah, you're ugly through and through, and no, I'm not going to be interested in that. Period. But what I've been learning throughout the course of the last 3 years is that most men are clueless. And the good ones are not looking. And the reason why they're not looking is because of all of the sketchy women out there who have they've spoiled, and these women have literally just taken advantage. There's men who are in their field of work, they're professional, they are committed to their occupation and their career. They probably worked very hard to get where they are at. They want somebody who is just as hardworking and not demanding a whole lot from them outside of their job. That's where I fall in, and no one looks at me even half glance because of my appearance. They don't understand that I clean up good when I need to. Just because I have dreadlocks doesn't mean that I can't do something with this mop. Because I have. Anyway. And it doesn't look half bad. Anyway. As eccentric as I am, but with the same concept and intellect as someone who is a workaholic. When I meet somebody, I don't want them demanding all of my fucking attention and mauling me with affection. I want somebody who is a partner. And a lot of career-minded, high-valued men who really don't give a shit about dating, a lot of them are just as much homebody as I am. They don't care how beautiful you are. They don't care about how good you cook. They have the money to take you out every night if they wanted to. Now, you start to weigh all of these different factors in your head, and you start to look at everything and be like, yeah, red flag boy, he wanted to go to Cracker Barrel one day. I'm like, you ain't got no money. We ain't worked in 2 weeks. He does the same job as me, right? You ain't got no money. How you know, what are you gonna charge it with whatever percentage on your fucking MasterCard? I mean, make it make sense. Just because you're picky, you wanna go to Cracker Barrel? When I have an entire house full of food. I could cook whatever he wanted. That kind of nonsense. There are people out there that have absolutely, and he was financially inept. I mean, he didn't have, he's like, I'm trying to build my credit. You are not going to build your credit that way. When you have zero money in your bank account and you're living on credit cards and you're borrowing from Peter to pay Paul and then borrowing from Paul to pay Peter, your credit is not going to grow. I said, you fix loans, fixed. Everybody's like, get a credit card. Yeah, it'll boost your credit really fast. But now you're stuck with a mountain of fucking debt interest debt. It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. I do fixed loans, and I just pay. I got a fixed monthly payment. Yep. That's how I built my credit, and it took a long fucking time. But you know what? I'm not asking people for money, and I'm not living in my mother's backyard, and I'm not having to borrow money from her. I have had to ask her for money when my wallet got stolen, my credit card had to get shut off, waiting for a new card to come in because it got compromised for whatever. But she gave me a couple $100 to get me through until the card arrived, and then I just took the money out and gave it right back to her. That kind of thing. But I've never had to borrow money because I didn't have the money. I've only borrowed money because I didn't have access to my money. That kind of thing. Anyway. The principle of the fact is, there are people out there who are so irresponsible, not only with their choices and their finances, that they put themselves into these pickles and then they don't want to claim accountability. And they're not doing anything for themselves. They're out there playing the people pleaser. You see, I would have, if he had just helped me with my bathroom and then left, I would have wrote him a check. But he didn't. Just help me with the bathroom and leave. He helped me with the bathroom with the intention of getting down my pants. And with that, we're going to get started on the bathroom early. I'm going to spend the night. That way, save me time, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Okay. And then one outfit turned into 5 outfits being at my house. And then he did something weird. Said, I'm going to go home for the night. I was like, why? You've been here for 2 weeks. Why tonight, right? Middle of the week, no night pour, not anything that, would substantiate, what, I got to get to bed at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You're not going to be home until like 4 or 5. I'm going to go home, crash out, go to work tonight, kind of thing. That made sense. That scenario made sense. But to leave here at 6:30 at night, to not have to go into work until 7 in the morning, and then the very next day, his mother throwing him under the bus. Where'd you stay last night? Yeah, where did you stay last night there, dear? You want so much to have this relationship with me, and I'm trying to go at a snail's pace to establish the fact that, if you are entertaining the fucking neighborhood, then you need to take me off of your option list, and I am no longer a choice. Which I basically said the very first day that he had, said, I really, I've been chasing you for 2.5 years. Yeah, and you can stop chasing. But here's some rules that you need to understand. He tested that boundary, and he is no longer here because his mama threw him under the bus. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of good guys out there. There's a lot of them. But you know where they're at? The same place all the good girls are at. Home. Taking care of their shit. And they ain't got time for games. Now, you can go on online dating. I've been on there. Yeah. 3 different fucking sites I've been on. All 3 have the same fucking people. Yeah. Nope. I ain't got time for that nonsense. If I can't meet you at the fucking grocery store in the produce section, or at church, if I go to church, I don't even go to church anymore. Or just out and about. I'm in an auto parts store, or, Home Depot, or fucking Lowe's, and, be like, I don't see a ring, or you want to go get lunch? Yeah, that sounds like a great fucking idea. Let me get this shit unloaded, and I'll meet you here. That kind of thing. People don't meet on a casual basis anymore. Everything is scheduled. If it doesn't happen by happenstance, I am literally just done with the dating thing. I don't care. I don't have time. I got too much shit going on. And I try to emphasize that fact on video to give the perspective to somebody else who might not understand this perspective. Yeah, my house is full of fucking crazy. And I'm still healing. I'm healed a lot better, a lot more than what I was prior to getting into the relationship that destroyed me 3 years ago. But at the same time, I still got a lot of cleanup to do. And being able to put this into a perspective where people understand it and it's not rushed. Like Natalie Clarice, I learned a lot from her. I understand her perspective and things. Some of it's a little bit linear, but for the most part, for women out there, you want somebody who's established. If they've got kids, understand where the mother went. And if it sounds questionable, put an all stop and be like, yeah, let's just play this by ear till you find out more about it. You know, everybody's situation is different. You know, you might have a single dad out there. I knew one when my daughter was a baby. The mom, she gave birth. She had postpartum. She got hooked on drugs. Disappeared. Left the baby with the dad. The kid was like 19 years old. This single father. Working his ass off, bring his little boy to daycare every single day. Absolute darling. The kid was, he was mild-mannered, civil. It's not his fault that the baby mama lost her marbles, went and got into the drugs, and, you know, now he's a single dad. He's taking care of the baby the best way he can, right? So, one of those situations. Yeah, there's everybody's story is different. You know, husband, his wife ends up with cancer of some sort. He sticks by her. She passes away. Now he's got the kids to take care of. And he ain't got time for nonsense. And much less, men in that situation are not wanting to go out and replace that woman right away. It may take years for them to come out of their little, you know, hidey hole. That kind of thing. There's so many different scenarios. I dated a man in Florida. He had his 2 kids, a little boy and a little girl. And he said, yeah, the mom, you know, she's all fucked up on drugs. She left when, like 3 years ago. And the one little boy was like 12. And the little girl was like 10 at that time. And she left like 3 years ago. I ain't seen her. I ain't heard from her. I don't ask her for a fucking dime. She just up and left. Well, after having been involved with this man for about, I don't know, a month, he started let his guard down. And he had said something to me that was so crude and inappropriate and rude. He came to my house, knocking on the door. Thank God I didn't have a car. Literally. Thank God I did not have a car. Because he didn't know if I was home or not. Because I used to put my bicycle inside the house. Because I rode like a mongoose. I have a mongoose Blackcomb. So I rode one of those. But I had literally brought the bike in and locked my door and played possum, avoiding this man. Like, went no contact, because what I sensed at that moment was frightening. And then I understood why the mother left. Now, would I have left my kids? I don't know. I don't know about that. But I completely understood why she wasn't there. Made sense to me. When you see the red flags, don't dismiss them. Watch, learn. You can give benefit of the doubt, but never dismiss the red flags. Because if you lower your boundaries on those red flags, they will take full advantage of you. Doesn't matter if you're male or female. Everybody's situations are different. Why am I single right now? Because I fucking chose to be. Yep. And did that man come pursuing me? Yes. Did I pursue him? No. No, I did not. And given that situation, work relationships never end well, period. And one of the things after dealing with the one 3 years ago was I wasn't going to get involved with somebody I worked with. And I kind of broke that rule a little bit, letting this guy help me. And then I was like, well, he's very helpful and he's super nice, he's doing all this stuff. And then he broke the pattern. To test it, I guess. To see if I was going to stand true on what I said. Yeah. So, hasta la vista. Have a nice fucking life. I don't care. I didn't ask you to come into my life and take over my house. I need a little bit of help with some stuff. I would have paid him if he hadn't tried to move in. Keep that in mind. Peace.